Good morning. Hi, everyone. So glad that we are doing this morning. I know it feels very impromptu, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that when I got sparked with this inspiration to have this conversation with you guys today, I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to delay. And so for you tuning in live, coming and joining us here live, make sure that you let me know that you're here and ask me the questions that you have while you're on the call, while you're on our live conversation for today. I do want to get started with something that's really important to me, which is, well, first coffee. And then the other thing is just getting grounded in our bodies. So take a couple deep breaths in. Hold it at the top and release. Take another deep breath in. Allow the air to fill up your lungs completely. Give thanks to the juiciness that is the air within you and release. One last time, okay, take a deep breath in, filling your chest, opening your heart and mind to the possibilities that swirl around you, and then releasing any tension or anxiety for whenever you're watching this. It is so important that we take a little bit of time just to ground ourselves in the energy that surrounds us so that we can make clear decisions, so that we can show up in our most vibrant self, so that we can be the best version of who we are at all times. Again, if you are just now joining, please go ahead and say hello in the comments. I'd love to see who's here and just give you a little shout out. I appreciate you taking the time today and to receive this message. Okay, so I want to start off with, after our little grounding meditation, I wanted to start off with today with, because we're talking about worthiness, right? We're talking about worthiness and safety and how important these components are to finding healthy love. And if you're going to be worthy of attracting this type of love into your life, you have to embody worthiness. So what I wanted to do for you today is I wanted to model a little bit of behavior for you. I decided to show up in my worthiness outfit. In one of the outfits, in the way that I share, the way that I wear my hair, the way that I put on my makeup, the way that I am grounding myself into today, this is my worthiness outfit. This is the highest version of myself embodied in a physical form for what I'm able to match and mirror at this time in my energetics and in my alignment patterns. And if this doesn't make sense to you, just think of like the highest version of you, the person that is doing everything that you want. Like my highest self, her name is Rich Rose, okay? And she is speaking on all the stages. She has the most incredible husband, and she just loves every minute of her life. She gives gratitude every single day. She just deeply embodies so much acceptance for herself. She embodies so much worthiness of every aspect of her life that's kind of unfolded, even in the tough times, even in the hard times. She feels deeply worthy of her business. She feels deeply worthy of showing up to share her message because she knows that the message that she's sharing is coming from such a soul place that it's important and imperative for any and all who are ready to receive it to receive it. And so for those of you struggling in your worthiness, maybe you can try just something like this, just putting on an outfit that you would want your partner to see you in, right? So if you're not in a relationship right now, what would the version of you that has the love life that she desires, what would she be doing, wearing, being, saying, thinking? That is the highest version of you. That is the person that you're going to want to start tapping into in order to shift your awareness towards your worthiness, to help you understand that you really are worthy. So modeling behavior is important. We all want to see what's possible for us. When we see that it's possible for us, it expands our awareness. It gives our mirror neurons the opportunity to see that, wow, this is possible for this person. Why couldn't this be possible for me? When we don't have enough models for the life that we want or for the love that we desire, it's really hard to feel worthy or like we're able to attract it into our life, especially if you come from a toxic family system. When you come from a toxic family, your mirror neurons were picking up the energy of that family. Your mirror neurons were picking up the energy of what your family was presenting and how they chose to fight, or how they chose to love one another, or how they chose to love you. And if you didn't have a good example growing up, it is your responsibility now that you're an adult to find people to help expand what is possible for you. And I'm hoping that you guys, the reason why I kind of show up the way that I do most of the time is like, I want you to know that I'm just a regular person who is doing the healing work, who has invested in herself, who has taken her own journey of transformation in order to find love, even though I came from a toxic family system, even though I dated narcissists, even though I did all of these things and, set my boundaries. Well, I didn't have any boundaries, set my expectations really low, settled for the wrong relationships. Even though I did all of those things, my life is possible. So if it's possible for me, then it's absolutely possible for you too. And that is the purpose of me being here, to help expand you into something that is more possible than maybe you ever thought before. Okay, so this two-part thing that I wanted to discuss on worthiness and safety, and how important it is to have both components in a relationship if you're going to have a lasting and sustaining relationship, and stop self-sabotaging, right? Like, if you're watching this, first off, say, I'm here. Secondly, also say, are you a queen of self-sabotage, or have you self-sabotaged yourself in ways that you wish you hadn't? Can I get a high five or amen or whatever? Because we know that we all do it, right? If you're catching the replay, do hashtag replay, just letting me know that you come so I can come back in and answer your questions as well. But yes, so when we are thinking about worthiness and calling into our life the types of relationships that we actually want, it's important for us to figure out, well, what is worthiness? What does that feel like? When is a time in your life that you felt the most worthy, the most deserving? Sometimes the only time we can think of is maybe a time in our childhood or our adolescence, maybe when we were, 15, or maybe even younger than that, right? Where things were just easy. We just felt like we weren't really thinking about it. We just attracted these really wonderful experiences. Maybe some of you have never had a time in your life where you felt worthy, right? So it's even harder to kind of recall that emotional experience or that emotional feeling. But what do you think worthiness feels like, right? Worthiness feels like probably confidence. Worthiness feels like, getting what you desire and what you deserve. It means holding your boundaries. It means feeling stable. Worthiness is the energetics of creation. Really? Because when you feel worthy to express yourself. You feel worthy of being exactly who you are. So worthiness is truly a divine feminine sort of energy that operates within all of us. But some of us, because of what we've been through, suppress it. We believe it doesn't exist. We try to push it away. And when we do that, when we deny our own worthiness, we attract that very thing. So our worthiness, the way that we feel about ourselves, the way that we invest in our own being, is a direct mirror reflection of what we're seeing in our reality. So, for example, if you are in a relationship where you undervalued, where you feel neglected, where you feel as though nothing you do or say is right, that is a direct reflection of your worthiness. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, you think Michelle Obama would let President Barack Obama tell her this, that, and that, or railroad her? I don't think so, right? And that's because she embodies her own worth. She embodies her worthiness. Do you think that Oprah Winfrey would let Stedman just say whatever he wanted to her, talk all crazy to her? Hell no, right? Because she embodies her worthiness. She knows what she's worth. She knows what she deserves. She knows so well that what she deserves. She's like, I don't want marriage. I just want to kick it. I want to like live my life and I want to do the thing. And I have this beautiful man who is my, my loyal companion, but we don't need to get married, right? She doesn't subscribe to the conformities of the norm, which is what made her so freaking successful. So when we think about our own worthiness, what are you allowing into your life? That is the direct, whatever you're allowing in your life is a direct reflection, a direct mirror image of the worthiness that you feel inside. And I know for some of you, it feels really hard to receive this, especially if you're in an abusive relationship. And I'm not saying that the abuse that you are receiving or experiencing right now is something that you deserve. It's just something that is happening to you because you somehow, some point, loosened your boundaries enough to where you stayed in this relationship even though you knew it was abusive, right? So it's about the behavior that happens when we know the truth about somebody and we stay. It's not about what we initially everybody, especially with narcissists, right? There's love bombing, there is all of this placating, there's this futuristic beautiful picture that they paint, the charisma that they and the charm that they like draw you in with. All of this feels very alluring. All of it is what we naturally want in a relationship at some capacity. But once you see the truth of who they are, what stopped you from letting them go? What stopped you from moving on? What kept you around long enough to see this relationship through, even when you were not getting your needs met? That is a worthiness issue. So how we really feel about ourselves is what we attract into our lives. And that's the problem with, so yesterday I was talking about giving and receiving. And so when we struggle with worthiness, which is like the essence of what it means to be a divine feminine being, which is the essence of what it means to be receiving, and just allowing and magic and creation and all of those beautiful things. When we are struggling with worthiness, we attract unworthy people. We attract the people who show us the worthiness that we feel. So like it can't be this it feels like you're blindsided in the moment. But if you're in my community, if you've been following my stuff, if you've been working with me or diving deep with me, even in these free sessions or these free calls that I give, free content that I give, you know that it is an inside job for you to find the relationship that you desire. The relationship that you desire is on the other side of the way that you feel about yourself. If you don't feel worthy or deserving of a relationship that is good and healthy and loving, then that good and healthy, loving relationship that may come your way, you're going to immediately push it away. You're going to immediately retract it. You're going to feel undeserving of it or unworthy of it and feel uncomfortable in it. You are just not going to allow yourself to stay in that space for very long if you do not believe that you are worthy or deserving of it. It will come and go just as quickly. So our worthiness is the exact thing that we have to get to the bottom of. And the way that you do that is by going on that deeper journey. Where did your worthiness issues stem from? Why have you believed these stories for so long? Who are the people that you are allowing power? Why have you given your power away? How can you reclaim your power? What do you need to do and say in order to believe that you are worthy and deserving? And that is everything that I teach in my sessions. That is everything that I teach with my clients. My clients come in. Oh, I have so many beautiful clients. And so when they show up to me, it's just like, please help me. Like, I know that I need this next step. I just don't know where to start. And so they come and work with me, and immediately we start seeing shifts in their appearance, the way that they start to talk about themselves, the way that they start to feel in their skin, the way that they express themselves, the way that they feel in the world. A lot of my clients end up becoming their own coaches. They start coaching other people, so they give back. I mean, it's the most incredible journey. And then, not to mention, after cleaning up all the worthiness stuff, then they start to attract like just so many suitable partners that are more in alignment with where they are now versus the unworthiness feeling that they might have carried before. They start attracting this new layer of people. And then that's when part 2 comes in, right? So safety. How safe do you feel in this new relationship? I saw this quote the other day. It was actually yesterday, I think. And basically what it said was the hardest relationship that you will have is the one you have after your toxic, the healthy relationship you have after your toxic relationship. And boy, did that hit home. I was like, yeah. And for any of my babes out there who have, who are in healthy relationships now, and it's your first healthy relationship or only a healthy relationship after toxic relationships, tell me that you felt that too. I mean, it is a complete mind bleep. It totally is. It's such a mind, you just don't even, because the safety issue comes in, right? So now that you know your worth and you're attracting all the right types of people and you feel really good and confident, you're like, man, this is a lot easier than I thought. What have I been doing? Why have I been settling? Oh my gosh, so many of my clients, like, I mean, a couple of them, Aurora, Jenny, Karen, Natalie, Victoria. I mean, there's all these beautiful women. They were just saying, like, I will never settle again. I will never allow certain treatment again. I will never go back to this thing again. Because once I started experiencing what it felt like to attract a worthy partner, you ain't going back. Are you serious? No, you are not going back there. That is absolutely insane. And if you do, you pull yourself out real freaking quick, okay? Because there's just no room for it anymore. You are no longer emotionally available for anything that says that story about you not being deserving or worthy of a healthy partner. And the moment you see toxic kind of showing up, you're like, no, I'm good. Ain't nobody got time for that. You dip out. And so when you have attracted that person into your life, now the safety issues come up, right? Because when you were in your last relationship and you were super vulnerable and you gave and gave and gave, they took advantage. They may have abused you, whether if it wasn't physically, it was emotionally, mentally. They left scars. They've made you have PTSD and trauma. And now it's like, ugh, your body tenses up. Oh my goodness. Some of my most beautiful clients, they just talk about how their body has this physical response. And and I notice it a lot. And I'll call them like, oh, you're doing it. There it is. It's happening right now. Especially when I talk about things like intimacy or commitment. Ooh, right? When you think about getting involved with somebody on a deeper level after you've been abused, safety concerns are a big freaking deal. And because of what you went through, now you're questioning. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I even know how to keep myself safe? Can I even trust myself to keep myself safe? So the worthiness attracts the person. The safety allows you to commit and allows you to create intimacy. But if you are really stuck in your trauma, if you're really stuck in that space of like what happened to me versus what I'm creating now, where I was versus where I am now, then you're going to have a lot of trauma responses and safety concerns within your new healthy loving relationship. Now, I also operate from the framework and the belief that what is really meant for you will not pass you by. So a really good man or woman is going to hold space for you to get triggered and for you to find your equilibrium. They're going to hold space for you to be in your trauma and then find your equilibrium. They're going to encourage you to continue coaching. They're going to encourage you to continue therapy. The women and men that I work with who are living and with narcissists, the narcissists convince them so quickly to fire my ass. The narcissists convince them as quickly as possible to fire my ass because they see how strong my ladies and my men are coming. They see the strength that is being built up. And if you have that, if that's going on, where your partner is telling you to quit the thing that's making you strong, then there you go. That is not the partnership you want to be in. That is not in your worth. It is time for you to move out of that vibration and into something new and better. And know it'll be hard, but it'll be fucking worth it. Fucking worth it. And I know some of you out there struggle with hearing the cursing and whatever. I don't care. It would be fucking worth it because of the value you place on yourself and the value you place on the people and things that you allow into your life is completely vibrationally different from what you were in. And I know this for a fact because I lived it and I teach it to so many people. So many people. So if you have a new relationship and you are struggling with your safety, you're struggling with feeling safe, then that is the space that you want to start to work on now. You found your worth, you figured out what it was. Now, how do you hold that worth? How do you hold your own balance within the relationship itself so that you can go through the ebbs and flows of life? You know, because one of the hardest things I remember was like, especially in like a narcissistic relationship, it's very codependent, right? So it's hot and cold, but then there's like deep passion and then there's like fighting. I mean, it's just like so much and you get used to that. So the stability of a healthy relationship feels very unnormal. It feels very confusing. It feels like, is this really what I want? Like, this isn't passionate at all. Oh my gosh, like how many people push away the right people because they're like, this is boring. I never want my stable relationship to feel boring to me. I want it to feel good and comfortable. I want to feel confident in it. I want to feel deserving of it. I want to feel worthy in it. That is the place that you want to come from when you're talking about your relationship. You don't want to talk about your relationship like, well, you know, today we had a huge fight again, but you know, like I know that it'll get better. And you know, like when you're looking down and making excuses, is that how you want to talk about your relationship? No. Or do you want to be like, yeah, my husband, he cooked a steak dinner for me last night and he poured me a glass of wine and rubbed my feet and oh, it was so beautiful. I loved every minute of it, right? You want to talk about it with confidence, looking directly into your, you know, into the soul of the person that you're trying to tell that this is possible for. And the safety concerns that come up within that new possibility are inevitably going to show up for anybody who's had a toxic or dysfunctional relationship life up until that point. And so your job is to find a way to create safety. So part of creating safety is getting grounded in your body. You know, so one thing that you know, like a lot of safety concerns, I was trying to think about, like, how do I deem safety? Like, what does that feel like? How do I know what safety looks like? Or for me, it's more about feeling. And I was like, oh, it's play, right? If I'm at play, like if I'm playing or dancing, you know, like, I'm not worried about my safety if I'm dancing, right? I'm not worried about my safety if I'm painting or being creative or expressing myself, if I'm moving my body, right? I'm not worried about my safety if I'm moving my body. No, there's no way. So maybe for you, part of that creating safety is finding a way to like get some movement in your body and just feel into that movement, you know, grounding yourself in meditation. I don't feel unsafe when I'm meditating. I don't feel unsafe when I'm praying, when I'm talking to Jesus, when I'm listening and I'm receiving the messages of God and the universe. Like, I do not feel unsafe during those moments. So for you, how do you create that safety? Because the safety starts within. You have to realize that you've always been safe. Now, there were moments in your past that that put you in unsafe situations, which possibly caused trauma, which possibly caused all sorts of, depression, anxiety, any of these things, right? Fear. And so your job is to create safety within your space now that you are an adult, now that you are physically actually safe, and get your mind out of the place where you were unsafe. Because if you're watching this, if you are like hanging out in the lives or whatever, there has to be a moment that you feel somewhat safe, whether it's in your car or, maybe going for a walk, or maybe, if in your home, at your job, maybe you feel really safe at your job, you feel confident at your job. A lot of what I teach is just helping men and women just find where they feel confident, the most confident, and translating that into their love lives. Translating that same confidence and worthiness and safety and expressiveness, and translating that into their love life so that they can start to call in the relationships that they've always deserved, and then also stay in the relationships they've called in, right? So many beautiful souls that come to me have never experienced a healthy relationship before. They don't even know what healthy love looks like. And that breaks my heart, but I know it too well because that's how I started too. I didn't know what healthy love looked like, besides the love of my mother. But even that had some toxic components to it because of what she was battling, what she was going through. Even I had some toxicity, even if I was trying to express my love for someone. Like, I still have toxic components where I was projecting my feelings, where I was loving them in order to get love in return. So it was not this unconditional sort of, just pouring out of love. It was like this expectant love, like that's kind of toxic. And so understanding my own behaviors and how they were a reflection of where I felt safe in my body and where I felt worthy in my body was so important for me to take that next step, for me to take that next leap, for me to get clear about what it was that I was trying to create for the life that I get to live on this planet, because we only get one life. And gosh, do you want to spend your one life here on this earth in and out of toxic relationships? Do you want to spend your one life on this earth believing that you don't deserve the love that God has already given you freely? Do you really want to believe that? And if you do believe that, you will see how it shows up in your relationships. Our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with our God shows up in the relationships on earth. All of them. The relationships you have with your friends, the relationships you have with your bosses or yourself or your parents or your siblings or your partner. All of that is a direct reflection of how well you trust yourself and how well you trust God. So after this, just outpouring of all this information that I just felt I had to share with you today, what is the next step that you're going to take? Are you going to allow yourself to sit in this unworthiness? Are you going to allow yourself to feel unsafe in your own body? Or are you going to take that next step and see what's possible for you? See how much more is available for you. Just being in my energy, because of the way that I hold space, is going to naturally help you raise your vibration to match and mirror what it is that you truly desire. Just being around my energy is going to help you start to think about what is possible for you and how to attract that next level into your life, what you really want, how to let go and release the past, the trauma, the relationships, the bullshit, all of that stuff, and actually call into your life the relationships that you desire and you really want. So for those of you who are ready, I am reaching out my hand to you. I'm reaching out my soul for you. I am inviting you to show up in my space so that I can teach you, so I can help you heal, so I can support you and encourage you and show you what's possible when it comes to finding and having true love. And when you feel worthy of love, you feel worthy of receiving so much more. money, opportunities, careers, all of these different things also flow into your life with such ease because you believe that you're worthy of it. So I trust that you'll find me. You can PM me or click the link below, which is my website. I have a free 25-minute, transformation call to see if we're a good fit. I also am opening doors on Friday to the collaborative healing spot, which is going to be so empowering and so powerful. And I really hope that you join me and several other coaches who are going to be there just to help you heal. $19 a month, a trial membership for just $1 for 30 days. And then after that, if you don't like it, you can cut it out, you can exit, whatever. But chances are you're probably going to want to stick around, and it's only $19 a month. So I will also leave that link for you to join the waitlist in the bio. I love you guys so much. I hope that this information really resonated with your heart and your soul. Leave me some love. Let me know what you liked, what you learned, and I'll talk to you soon.